All right, so I'm going to channel my inner Stephen Furtick here and all the other spiritual teachers that I know, so on and so forth. So when it comes to different scriptures, so on and so forth, a lot of people have this depiction that Jay is like this all-peace, hippie, long hair, so on and so forth. But in certain scriptures, in certain books, he's described, well, kind of looking like Blackbeard or some BA naval captain. Now, myself being former military, I understood this and I took it a step further because, well, Jay ended up on Peter's boat. Then he had a boat and he sailed around, kind of like a Navy captain. They went to him when they were in trouble, kind of like sailors do in the Navy, so on and so forth. And if he had a military, then that would be the equivalent of, well, let's say the Marine Corps, which is a department of the Navy that is, well, was known as mariners on a ship. The fighters of the ship were known as mariners. Peter was a fighter, so on and so forth. Ironically, the Marine Corps was established in a bar and the disciples just happened to like drinking wine. That's just, sarcasm, but it's very true. Now, when it talks about certain things and it comes to tactics of war or battles and things like that, you can take scripture as well as other books and see the similarities. See, Jordan Peterson once said that the meek shall inherit the earth, but meek does not mean weak. It means those who have the capability of doing great harm and choosing not to do so will inherit the earth. Now, what does that mean? Well, if we go a little bit further back, I just, confirmed this. Sun Tzu's Art of War, if you ever seen any of my videos or remember me mentioning Sun Tzu Art of War, so on and so forth. Normally I would read it, and listen to DMX. It's a long story. But in Sun Tzu Art of War, there is a saying in there that says, when you are weak, appear strong. When you are strong, appear weak. Now, that coincides with the meek shall inherit the earth, using Jordan Peters' understanding and definition that those who are meek are not actually weak. They are weak men. They are strong men pretending to be weak, not weak men that are pretending to be strong, if that makes sense. Now, when it comes to other things, so on and so forth, you think, oh, well, what about this and the masculine and feminine and this is gay and that's so on and so forth. I don't want to hear it because if you ever been around anybody in the military, especially Marines, they could tell you that there's two ceremonies. The one that the people don't see is very emotional, and the second one is actually rehearsed and professional, so you have a proper depiction of what it is to look at a Marine, because God forbid you would see their emotional side. Hell, in the Bible, John rested his head upon Jesus's breast. Some of you would call that a gay action, so on and so forth, this, that, and the third. But hey, in the military, people cry for different reasons. Some of you would say that that's soft. Oh, just get over it. Oh, or like my mother would say, can't you just forget about all these people dying and the suicides and all that other stuff? No, Mom, I can't. Sorry, but I can't. I'm not like you, nor do I choose to be like you. However, I do choose to educate myself, go forth with insight, with knowledge, with wisdom, using things that I've learned, questioning those around me, and learning from others that have came before me. So if you're not willing to take the first step, how can you ever grow as an individual? Now, looking at other things, right? When it comes to spiritual tactics or the art of war, right? They talk about tattoos and why you shouldn't have tattoos. In the movie Rounders, there's an expression that Matt Damon says that you wear your heart on your sleeve, so on and so forth. Well, in the military or in combat, you see people with sleeves. Anybody with tattoos it's a form of expression. It tells people a little bit about your beliefs, what you believe in, what you're trying to say, what you're trying to express, what are your favorite movies, if you have an Alice in Wonderland tattoo, or so on and so forth, and things like that. You get a lot of information from somebody just by their appearance and what they choose to put on their body. This gives the other person, i.e. the enemy, the adversary, the devil, whatever you want to use, because devil or Satan is just another word for adversary, right? So when you're looking at these things, you have to understand that there are etymologies to words, and they normally stem from somewhere. Remember, the letter J never existed up until later, and the Bible was translated from the Greek. So, yes, it's a slang term. However, not a slang term. It is a new term or a new character that was introduced. But in the end, does it really matter? Right? What were the teachings? What did you take away from it? What did you learn? Did you even decide to grow and think better, not just think different? And this ties into lesson 7 of class, how to think better, not just different. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and check out my playlist for class, where we talk about creativity, logic, art, science, and spirituality, and how it all links together. Now, when you look at other teachings, so on and so forth, Buddhism, Hinduism, so on and so forth, even Greek mythology would go ahead and go into different things as far as what people would consider getting in your feels. You know, your feels would be seeing someone that's supposed to be very masculine, but then all of a sudden they have a soft moment and they start singing in private. Or maybe they're dancing in the corner because it's not masculine to dance, so on and so forth, etc. Now, these are all expressions, because during the Wild West, when you told somebody, okay, let's dance, that meant let's fight. Nowadays, well, especially around the 80s, if you understood breakdancing, yo, let's break, let's dance. We're gonna battle on the dance floor without physically harming each other, so on and so forth, but we're gonna get the point across, because there's a thing called top rocking and up rocking, which looks like a battle between two individuals, or a sparring competition between two martial artists that are on the dance floor, moving with musicality, moving with the beat, and having the DJ change the tempo and the rhythm every time, similar, and acting just like a fight scenario. So therefore, this makes the situation very unpredictable, and it shows the skill of the two individuals that are not only communicating to the DJ as well as the audience, but to each other, as far as what they can do, when they could do it, exactly how they could move with the rhythm, the rhythm, the rhythm. That's the other spiritual teaching. If you don't know who I'm shouting out right now, that would be TD Jakes. Shout out to you, so on and so forth. But you have to get within the rhythm, right? Think of it like a record, right? A record has different tracks on it, so on and so forth. But if you look at our solar system, you have different planets that fall in line, so on and so forth. And when those things happen to, well, intersect, crossover, so on and so forth, we have different things that occur, such as an eclipse or whatever the case may be. Maybe we might get a solar flare because one planet got too close to the sun or something happened, etc. So you have to see how not only are we a reflection of our universe, but our universe reflects us. And the last time I checked, just like the other spiritual teachings, just like the Bible and everything else, they did not come here to start a religion to control people. They came to build relationships, people, for crying out loud, relationships. Now, if you want to have a bad mood, I'm going to tell you to screw off because you're messing with my vibe, as they say, right? And as the song goes, don't kill my vibe. So if you're trying to come into my world and introduce yourself in a particular way, by all means do so. But do not mess with my vibe, because now I'm going to have to give a warning. After that warning, well, it's going to get worse. Now, others will say, well, I'll do this and I'll push back, so on and so forth. There's only two sides to the face, right? When it comes to turning the other cheek, right? So you have strike 1, strike 2, and strike 3, you're out of there. Well, let's look at the X and X chromosome. That's 2 strikes. And then you have the X and Y chromosome. You put them together, that's strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. Now they're asking, why are they here? Why, am I put here? What is my purpose, etc.? But if you were to look at the chromosomes under a microscope, it doesn't even look like an X or a Y. So think about that before you decide to lie or come and intimidate somebody that you think you have the upper hand on without knowing who has the upper hand. Right? So the next time you want to say, oh, look up, make sure you already have a positive mindset and you're coming in to start a conversation to lift someone up, not to put them in their place, not to go ahead and spew negative thoughts or actions or to get them to do something because you think you have some type of power or control. Control yourself, and then your environment around you will change. Because why? We are a reflection of our universe, and our universe is a reflection of us. And last time I checked, our universe is greater than the environment in which we live in. So if you appreciate this message, go ahead, smash that like button. And if you haven't seen any of my other reels and things like that on curing depression and so on and so forth, by all means, go ahead and check those videos out. You can check them out here on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or wherever. And by all means, please do not forget to check out Class, A Way of Thinking Better. So, it has about 7 lessons in it right now. We're moving to lesson 8, going further into creativity, because we started with the letter C, hence the acronym CLASS, which stands for Creativity, Logic, Art, Science, and Spirituality. And yes, if you change the languages, even in German, it actually creates the same acronym, so on and so forth, with the similar letters. So now that I put forth that thought, remember, if you haven't seen the other short that I did, the truth is said in jest. A jester worked for a king, and he used juggling, magic, so on and so forth, to not only entertain the audience, but to say the truth in a humorous manner. And last time I checked, there were many people that called Jay a fool. So was he acting as the jester, speaking in a manner in which you do not understand, but the people that did understand him did understand? Therefore, by which he was saying the truth in jest so that he didn't get in trouble or prosecuted? Think before you speak. Learn your text before anything else. And if you have questions, do not be scared to ask them. For the only dumb question is the one that has not been asked. And that is why people always say, why am I here? What am I doing, without doing their own investigation? Many people will say, I tried something this amount of times. Great, list them out. Great, write them down. Oh, you can't? Well, how about we try to write everything down? How about we try to list everything out, and then we look at all the things that are possible that can make your dream happen? You're trying to start a business? That's great. Utilize AI. Tell AI to be a top business coach with 20 years of experience and to help you with the budget that you have, help you build your business. Now you have a personalized business coach that can help you build your business for free, so on and so forth. Or if you're in business, you can go ahead and tell AI to go ahead and act as a board of directors with over 30 years of experience, and its job is to assist you in growing your business by 20% or more. And now you have a board of directors for free, using artificial intelligence as well as the power of the internet and all of its knowledge to go ahead and grow your business by a minimum of 20%, which would combat against, well, inflation, which just happened to increase by 20%, if not a little bit more. So if you're loving this message and you love everything else that I've done before in the past, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.